My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. This is P.O.C. I just want you to see the impulsive light activity on the inside of the building. This is entirely impossible. This is because monitoring, which is demonic, and it's also criminal surveillance, and it's in furtherance of murder. And this is the mental illness, the evidence of it, while the people of the state are present in an inexplicable environment for criminal purposes while they maintain what's supposed to be on the surface everyday normal conduct. All right, including even defaming you, harassing you, engage in what is violating you in one way or another while you expose what they are actually doing. That's not sunlight up there. And the entities engaging in this while they are monitoring the evidence also that's being captured. All right, that's the pattern of conduct. That's light activity while they're monitoring, including by using the alarm. This is understand criminal activity. Criminal activity. A facilitator is a manager at a facilitating venue. Okay, facilitating violence and furtherance of murder as a store manager. Okay, as a library director, as a police chief, as a CEO. This is psychopathic pacing as opposed to free conduct. This is Kia. She's gang stalking. Hi, how are you? All right, coming out monitoring. Did something happen with the alarm? Oh, was it a car?
It got stuck, yeah.
Oh, okay. That was disconcerting.
Yeah.
There's my shadow. Okay, this is monitoring. In furtherance of murdering me. So I just want to be clear. Ontario Shopping Village, Ontario Village Shopping Center. You have the entity Guard World coming up and picking up their money, also engaging with us corrupt business practices in order to monitor me under the fake sun that's present. Were you aware that a bunch of demons are engaged in vagina monitoring? That the terrorist leader, Mike LORENZ in Ontario, California, of the terrorist organization, the Ontario Police, Michael GERKEN and Alan D. WAPNER, the Ontario Fire, the Ontario International Airport, are facilitating that conspiracy to murder while a population of demons who are stalking under a fake sun that is mentally ill in what is engineered light, not coincidentally, nor ignorantly there, for the criminal purposes of monitoring you, surveilling you. That has nothing to do with what is light that is over there. That's a demon. 5KRH105 is engaged in the criminal conspiracy to commit murder. And you don't even know that person, nor do you have to. Okay? That's P.O.C. And the fake sun, as you'll see in my images, comes the back way. As I come around down D Street, San Antonio, and the entity kept that fake sun over me coming from an opposite direction when I'm coming from C Street, Vesta, and the people that stay along all that street, and the entity is stalking by the people. Okay, where they live. Well, you'll see this fake sun over all of their facilitating venues, not private residences. Okay, this is the evidence of the criminal conspiracy to commit murder, including the wealth of evidence that the Ontario Police Department, the Ontario Fire Department, the Ontario International Airport have provided, and including the people of the state who do so when they are surrounded in an environment that is irreconcilable with nature, common sense, science, and the absence of a coincidence when it is documented routinely amongst the population who are light slingers, walking with their shadow appearing behind you. That's mental illness. While they don't say anything to you, you are able to diagnose and recognize it, and their criminal conduct. This is P.O.C. All right, 9:12, and again at 9:14 p.m. as a psychopathic and perverted and very threatening method of monitoring, which is a violent sex offense committed by the same demons that are stalking in helicopters and commercial planes and on the roads and the highways with impossible light under items like a fake sun and a fake moon, as a population that is conspiring the murder of the one whom they systematically, that is perpetually sexually violate and offend. At the Stater Brothers, at the venue where you see the fake sun, and you can recall evidence of that fake sun being over me at that same location at what is the Stater Brothers at 646 West Holt Boulevard at 3 o'clock. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's speaking to what is duration of time, speaking to what is the maintenance of an environment, which is a crime scene, the identification of that crime scene. Where you are engaging in surveillance, you are not engaging in anything that you are ignorant about, such as activity creation and that engineer light. The engineer light at the entrance of that Stater Brothers is also speaking to what is activity creation regarding sex offenders who are monitoring with their knowledge of what is going on with my vagina, also my position in the bathroom, at the sink, where you are stalking in the path outside of the door, putting in the code in the door, in the keypad, seeking to open the door when the entity is engaging in surveillance and knows exactly where you are. This is a psychopathic and very threatening and sexually violent means of monitoring. You're engaging in surveillance in the bathroom, and these are the mentally ill. So I just want to be clear, they engage in sexual violence regardless of the consequences. And it is also not an evidence that you're not engaging in surveillance when you engage in that sexually violent conduct in the face of that evidence. It is evidence of engaging in what is sexual violence with impunity. This is P.O.C. This is activity creation while they are doing so under the fake sun. This is the entity that knows where I am. That's why they keep a fake sun from rise until set, and are engaging in what is repeatedly seeking to force the door open. This is a threat to your life and your safety while the entity is pursuing you in the bathroom, and doing so with regard to what is a mentally ill and delusional narrative regarding, oh, I don't know, and I'm trying to get in the, and they do know. This is the entity that's monitoring evidence. Again, the entity who's actually exposed and who is engaging in what is violence. This is the entity, I want to be clear, the manager of the store is going to be prosecuted, just like the previous manager of the store. Key is monitoring as well and is engaging in that conduct. I also want to be clear, when you're engaging in what is the use of a restroom, I never engage in this sort of violence outside of a door. Not at all. This is totally activity creation of a frustrated demon. You're dealing with the psychopath. But I also want to be clear, it's uncharacteristic based on the entity's position that they would maintain. I don't know that anyone's in the bathroom. I need to use the bathroom. Is anyone in the bathroom? The entity's engaging what is beating down the door while they are monitoring under the fake sun that is over me at this Stater Brothers at 9:01 a.m. Remember, it is over the 10 freeway at Archibald Avenue, as I'm capturing on video at 9:46 a.m. Yesterday, it's over me at the OVITT Family Community Library as I am there, not getting on Omnitrans, not walking by Wendy's, not outside on G Street. I am already at what is the OVITT Family Community Library where the entity is keeping the fake sun, and even today, the entity is engaging what is different conduct with that fake sun conduct while you are beating the door down, threatening the life, and sexually violating an American citizen on behalf of the government. Mike LORENZ is going to prison for the sex offense committed by the entity while they exhibit severe mental illness and delusion. Everyone is aware that you're stalking as a population, and you're doing so in a bathroom while you're monitoring. It's 9:18 a.m. This is P.O.C. So what's so interesting about this is the entity is beating on the door. If you are using the bathroom, why would you be beating on the door when you can't get up from the toilet or something? You know what I'm saying? This is all the ways in which they're engaging. What is monitoring? It's all monitoring, but I just want you to entertain some scenarios while the demon-possessed are hostile as they're documented. Sex offenders. P.O.C. Is everything okay? Hi. Is everything okay? Did you guys have an issue? Somebody was like trying to break down the door?
Somebody was trying to break down the door?
Yeah. Well, it started as like maybe 2 minutes ago. You guys didn't get a complaint?
When you were in there?
Yeah.
Oh, in the restroom.
Somebody knocked on the door, which I understand that, but then they started like beating on it. Yeah. That was a little disconcerting. Okay, I just want to know, maybe they complain. I didn't use it up. I don't know. I'm out now. I'll just let you know. Anyway, thank you for holding it. I'm actually going to buy some more stuff. Thanks, ma'am. Have a good one.
You too.
That is indeed the pattern of conduct when you are dealing with psychopaths who are demon-possessed, who are monitoring. This is about monitoring. So while I'm at the sink, you are in the path. Meaning you're standing, and essentially you're standing to my right while I'm facing the sink in the bathroom. That's a demon that's stalking on the opposite side of the door, is aware of my positioning, is aware of everything that happened before I went to that sink and started to wash my hands as well, vagina monitors, and engages in what is activity creation through knocking on the door. Those demons are also hostile because I began documenting because I know what they are doing. And the demon-possessed that are monitoring you in a bathroom are psychopaths already, who are also psychopaths and triggered by your documentation about them stalking you in a manner that they presuppose you are not supposed to know, and the fact that you do know is what frustrates them. And this is a system that relies on defamation. That's not happening with my evidence. These demons that are psychopathic are very much triggered and engage in more violence, hence the beating on the door, which is inexplicable on its face and in substance, because you know that these are demon-possessed gang stalkers, vagina monitors. And because of this, again, Mike LORENZ's pattern of conduct is established. He's going to prison for keeping my vagina under surveillance, for stalking me as an agency in concert with the population who commits such acts, documented acts of violence for a series of years through corrupt businesses like Stater Brothers and the OVITT Family Community Libraries, vagina monitors all in position, the Ontario Airport Inn. My vagina kept under surveillance by Mike LORENZ and the Ontario Police. And he's going to federal prison for it. Remember, the perpetual sex offense is sexual violence committed in furtherance of murder. Not just because you want to engage in sexual violence and then go on to your next victim. They are engaged in the perpetual sex offense in furtherance of murder. to make sure that there is no second, no moment that you are not being monitored, including while you're physically indisposed, including while they're monitoring as demons, literally your genitalia, your movement, what you're doing with your genitalia. P.O.C. And they also use technology to keep you under surveillance. This is the pattern of conduct at Stater Brothers. Okay, everyone in the store and everyone outside of the store, everyone engaging in aerial surveillance. The city of Ontario that is stalking me as I walk through the neighborhood, and you see them maintaining plane activity. You see that fake sun dragging in the sky. Everyone is monitoring my vagina. Mike LORENZ is going to prison for this. Okay, it's an unprecedented means of sexual violence. An entity is sexually violating you, as opposed to, again, much respect, and I understand and I have compassion for those that have been subject to sexual violence by a person or even by multiple people. Okay, at the same time or repeatedly, collectively, over a course of time. The perpetual sex offense is sexual violence committed by the government, by a population, ceaselessly, at all times. Okay, it is unprecedented sexual violence, which is also in furtherance of a murder by that government. You're going to federal prison for that. It's unprecedented sexual violence, never before contemplated under federal law. And it is inherent to what is the system of gang stalking, criminal surveillance. It is currently 9:22 a.m. p.m.
Yeah, I don't know. He just told me it won't cover the cold.
Okay, so I can't purchase the cold food with that? Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, you know that's not the EBT policy, right? Oh, was that your manager?
Yeah, no, I was talking to him right there because he would know.
Yeah, I bought it before, just to let you know. Did you guys recently change your own policy or did the law change?
I'm pretty sure, like the company.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, no, I'm not going to give you a hard time. But that's fine. You can take this off, please. I don't want that. I did expect it to be covered. Maybe it's still being counted as a... No, it was refrigerated. I don't know why it would do that. But anyway, okay, that's off, right? Can I get my receipt then? Thank you. What's your name?
Andres.
Andres? Thank you, Andres. Alrighty. Okay, I will go ahead and document the entities engaged in what is monitoring. So this is a means of targeting, and they're stalking in the store as employees. These are mentally ill demons sitting around engaged in what is surveillance, waiting for me to walk by, so then they stop staring at something so that they can cross path inside of the grocery store. So what's happening, the reason why I'm documenting is because the entity that is engaged in targeting does so with regards to products that you also purchase. And with regard to the electronic I'm not sure what the acronym of the EBT stands for, but I do want to be clear. When you purchase cold food, that is covered on the EBT. And by the way, I've previously purchased the cold food items at Stater Brothers, who is gang stalking, and it was able to be accomplished as a transaction. Today, especially when they're very much triggered, I do want to be clear, it is relevant to documentation. But I also want to be clear, the entity that's engaging what is varying behavior regarding what I can accomplish purchasing and what I'm not able to purchase today. And with regard to, it's not hot food, it is actually, and I'm going to go ahead and take a picture of it because it's cold food and the entity is engaged in what is excluding it from the ability to purchase. So I just want to document that because this entity is engaged in corrupt practices and means of targeting. So it is in the refrigerated aisle. And I would just want to be clear, even if it were categorized as a hot food in a refrigerated area now, I guess, I purchased it before. So this is the entity that's engaged in what is varying under all circumstances while they are gang stalking. It is targeting. The fake son is here. While I'm talking to Andres, he gets on the phone and asks for further information about why the food is not categorized with regard to being covered on the EBT. And he is stating that he's being told that it's not covered by the EBT while Impossible Light is dragging on the floor and dragging on the ceiling. He is monitoring. So this is relevant to what is my inability. It's all relevant to that pattern of conduct. This is why I document FedEx is supposed to deliver. They're targeting you. And it's relevant to I'm going to prosecute you, and I'm going to prosecute all of the harms, no matter how small. And
is no such thing as a small harm when an entity is targeting, every company is targeting and harassing in whatever ways they have at their disposal, no matter how they may try to retroactively legitimize that, which there is no legitimization upon federal group stalking and monitoring. So I just want to document that. The entities engaging in this while Andres is monitoring, a psychopath is in the aisle with engineer light dragging on the cement floor and the ceiling. I've documented impossible light inside of Stater Brothers already. They're psychopaths. These are the demons stalking with light outside. They do it inside of the building. This is what they do inside of the OVITT Family Community Library. This is what they do aboard Omnitrans buses. These demons are monitoring, okay? This is the entity that is very much engaged in criminal conduct. The TAD office where I get my EBT card. San Bernardino County is engaged in federal group stalking, monitoring. The fake son stalking me by helicopter, engaging what is terrorism and conflict with the people that stay inside of that county office where it's public information, what's supposed to be private, in addition to criminal surveillance and furtherance of murder by the ones that issue you the EBT card, and all of that information is also made private in the same way that your genitalia is public information amongst an entity that is monitoring you. So this is the entity and every single harm relevant to and foreseeably to result from gang stalking me and furtherance of murder while you are engaging in this criminal system. As a business, as a government body, I'm going to prosecute you for it. Okay? P.O.C. It's currently 9:39 a.m. Okay, vagina monitoring underway by what is David Quinones. Okay, and what is the hostile gang stalker Lupe? She's a female, and also Andres, and every other employee. Those are the demons the sex offenders, the vagina monitors whose name I know. The entity engaging in what is terrorism, stalking with impossible light inside of the grocery store. That's terrorism. And they're mentally ill that are stalking you or terrorizing you while they're stalking you with impossible light. Okay, P.O.C. It is currently 9:42 a.m.
Alrighty, this is relevant to the vagina monitoring by David Quinones, the impossible light activity on the inside of the grocery store, the crossing path and engineer light under a fake sun that's over the Ontario Village Shopping Center, and the simultaneous pacing on the ground. In the absence of any takeoff from the Ontario International Airport, hovering over the Ontario Village Shopping Center where the fake sun is present well into the afternoon. Southwest Airlines is a very heavily documented terrorist targeting with the people of the state in furtherance of murder, for which the airport is being shut down. Terrorists like Southwest Airlines are going to be prosecuted and identified as such, but they're engaging in this in furtherance of murder. That's also the bigger picture, and this is facilitation of that conspiracy of murder while the gang's stalking together. The mentally ill are stalking, but you need to understand that they're monitoring. This is a fake sun, and this is all engineer light. Okay, this is engineer light that you see concentrated. This is engineer light that's even in the shade. This is how thorough the monitoring is. This is the significance of flying over and all around me in the sky space and maintaining light that doesn't disappear in the shade. Here's my shadow over here. These are demons. Okay, David Quinones is a demon calling himself a manager over a grocery store. Alan D. WAPNER is a demon, a president over the airport authority. Mike LORENZ is a demon calling himself a chief of police. Okay, the entities engaging in what is this pattern of conduct in the Ontario police are going to be federally prosecuted. And you understand, this is federal prison. 8DBD 894. The Ontario police are stalking the fake sons right here over me. They're stalking. This is psychopathic pacing. The train is audible activity. They're doing so in the engineer light. I want to be clear, it's 9:45 a.m. The entity has the fake sun outside of the hotel room window of the Ontario Airport Inn. This is criminal surveillance, a demon stalking with light. Their foot on the brake, this is light activity, and they're monitoring with devices. 9TCW 929. Southwest Airlines engaged in what is louder plane activity. The previous plane coming from the same airport where you're not taking off over the town square east of this location. You're not taking off over the, or landing behind the amphitheater of the Ontario Town Square. And you're also not taking off when you fly west of that location from the same airport, while a fake sun remains over me from sunrise until sunset, and you're engaging what is maintaining that same elevation. Different plane activity levels, however. It's demonic. It's not even the sound of that plane. These are demons. That's not the sun. This isn't sunlight. Neither is this lawful. And you see that fake sun reflecting off of that windshield? It's not outside over the 10 freeway at Archibald Avenue at 9:46 a.m. like I documented at 1801 East G Street. This is a vagina monitor. They check out hotel rooms to keep me under surveillance. They go into the grocery store stalking. They go into the bathroom stalking, banging on the door to monitor you on behalf of that state. That's keeping your genitalia and keeping you under surveillance, and it's not ignorantly running over you in the middle of the street when they're sounding their sirens. They commit premeditated murder. This is P.O.C. This is the evidence of mental illness by those that commit murder like UPS in Kentucky under a fake sunset. All right, this is the entity that's doing so. I want to be clear, this is BONITA. There's no airport behind the Ontario City Hall. There is no airport where you're taking off here.
And that's not the sun. The mental illness by the entity, it shows itself by the more that you document, the more criminal conduct that they engage in. That's informing what is diagnosing and prosecuting. Lupe, Andres, David Quinones, Isaiah, Kia, they're inside of the Stater brothers engaging in criminal surveillance and vagina monitoring on behalf of the state that's maintaining surveillance through an airport that is acting with the people who are all demons. Keeping a fake sun over Ontario Airport Inn, stalking as an innkeeper, stalking as a library, OVITT Family Community Library. The entity has a fake sun over me at 10 o'clock. That will not be the case. The Ontario Police Department, the Ontario International Airport, co-conspirators of murder. Mike Lorenz is going to federal prison, and Mike Lorenz is severely mentally ill. So are all of the demon-possessed. 8MQT438, 9TUH922, 6WIN188. 44135C1, the ongoing psychopathic pacing, because that's what they're doing when they're hovering, targeting with planes, they're engaging in psychopathic pacing. This is P.O.C, okay? Audible activity, engineer light, crossing path, demon. Alrighty, that's the pattern of conduct. This is the entity that's acting on behalf of the state, that is maintaining no airport activity with regard to what is anything other than stalking. That's the population that's engaged in vagina monitoring on behalf of that government that's conspiring your murder, and they are mentally ill. Them and their children, okay, are engaging in this sexual violence, they're engaging in stalking, they're engaging in the conspiracy to murder while they have their children and include them in gang stalking, which is demonic activity, monitoring you in the engineer light, pacing all around in it, and they're doing it with planes and helicopters, severely mentally ill. Those are the population, those are those within the population that intentionally crash the planes and helicopters into the ground, into mountains, into bodies of water, and call it a tragic accident. It's not. They're the demon-possessed that are mentally ill, gang stalking in California. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9:49 a.m. This video is 4 minutes and 58 seconds long. Under the fake sun, the entity is maintaining ongoing psychopathic pacing outside of what's published regarding the business of what is the Ontario International Airport that has no flights taken off over this venue. Okay, POC, they have engineer light moving across the habit. That's not sunlight. License 7JQY854 is pacing with another, again, the same terrorist, Southwest Airlines, the Ontario International Airport. Okay, the entity, the Ontario board and the Ontario executive team, they don't have a job. The city of Ontario is being gutted out. All right, this is exposing what is the mentally ill who have caused what is sudden death to the government. They've caused sudden death to their careers and the ways in which they threaten the public, kidnapping, conspiring their death, targeting and stalking them and sexually violating them. They've caused sudden death to their citizenship in this country. They've caused sudden death to the maintenance of companies that are engaging in terrorism like Southwest Airlines and every other gang stalking airlines where they mentally ill are stalking using commercial planes and pilots. And they're engaging in surveillance inside of the venue. 628B, what is Holt Boulevard, Standard Barber is gang stalking. They're pacing inside. They're pacing inside of 628A, Holt Boulevard, First Staffing Group. They're monitoring while the entity is maintaining the fake set. And this is a demon that knows that I'm talking about him. Engineer light is in front of the front door. The government is always incriminating the people of the state, and this is a massive prosecution of the government. POC, it is currently 9:50 a.m., and this is relevant to what is over the Ontario Airport Inn while I'm looking out of that window of the 10 freeway at Archibald Avenue. The two are not the same. All right, stalking by population requiring martial law. POC. Alrighty, I have captured this so many times. The pattern of conduct is already established, okay? I am number one in the shade. Number two, light is manifesting in the shade. Number three, light is manifesting in the shade at a tremendous distance. My shadow, number four, is projecting in this light that's manifesting on a crime scene where the people of the state reside. Gang stalking with the same airport, gang stalking with the same police department, gang stalking with the same light slingers. This is another iteration of the same stalking with light on what is not private property. This is not private property. This is a malicious statewide system amongst the demon-possessed that are using what is a neighborhood to maintain surveillance as you walk down the street. And let's get the fake sun. That's still not on Ontario Airport Inn, nor is it over the OVITT Family Community Library. Crossing path. License plate. Vagina monitors. California exempt. Molesting. 56768D3. That's a demon that knows that he's out of a job. Molesting me with impossible light is the sexual violence of the deranged demons that are gang stalking, and the people of the state are going to federal prison with them. All right, that's Ontario Fire, Michael GERKEN. Ontario Police, Mike Lorenz. The people of the state, demons stalking with engineer light, 9K BM 744, flying on the wall, and here it is stationary on the wall. It has nothing to even do with their cars. These are demons, including the Ontario Fire Department. Those are demons. Department, those are demons. They're demons. They're demons that are engaged in activity, all right? And that's what I'm documenting here, of all races, all right? Those that are immigrants are being deported. This is located at Bonita and Vesta, located at 156, where the fake sun is over your facilitating venue. You are fully exposed and vulnerable to a raid regarding Department of Homeland Security, a raid regarding terrorism and furtherance of murder, regarding terrorism with the government, regarding terrorism for which you are fully exposed and vulnerable to all manner of a federal prosecution as a terrorist and antagonist to the United States at Vesta and Bonita. And that's not just this demon that's identified, this gang stalker that's identified, this terrorist, a co-conspirator of murder, literally by the maintenance, the stalking of the environment. You're stalking in the facilitating venue. Where you pay your rent, where you pay your mortgage, where you occupy space, the government is recognizing you and you're going to be prosecuted. I will drag you out of that venue with the long arm of the federal law and prosecute you. This is P.O.C. and it's necessitating martial law. This is the pattern of conduct. They're engaging in surveillance as a neighborhood. They consume government welfare systems. They come to this country as immigrants, sharing in conspiracy of murder. They engage in more violence while you document them. They do so with the government that shares 62106, that's California license plate, that shares in that hostility. They're going to be subject to mental examinations. The impossible light activity is the evidence. And who are the mentally ill? The demons of the Ontario Fire Department, the demons of the Ontario International Airport stalking in commercial planes, the demons of the Ontario Police Department stalking in police vehicles and in helicopters, and the people of the state, the light slingers themselves maintaining surveillance as an entity. This is P.O.C. This is what they're slinging on me. It has nothing to even do with their vehicles driving by. Those are demons and it's supernatural and it's the evidence to prosecute them. This is P.O.C. at 10 a.m. where there is no sun that's ever going to create this on the floor or upright on the wall or while you're driving by me, walking by me, skating by me, flying by me. And this is also not over 215 E.C. Street where those terrorists are lined up at the OVITT Family Community Library under a fake sun. This is P.O.C. Stalking as a population is necessitating martial law, and the people of the state are going to federal prison. P.O.C. Crossing path under the fake sun. Sex offender 6XDG879, and is doing so pursuant to knowledge of who I am and where I'm located. And further knowledge is the evidence of what is impossible. Here's my shadow appearing in the shade, manifesting to maintain ongoing engineer light. This is stalking in furtherance of murder by a population, and this is the exposure of the demon possessed. Okay, this is exposing the Ontario Police, the Ontario Fire, who are light slingers all the same, stalking with impossible light that's manifesting while they are demons who are monitoring, including while they are representing businesses like UPS and what is FedEx, Amazon Prime, the demons that are operating vehicles, molesting my body, sexually violating me while they're stalking me and psychologically torturing me by stalking and touching me in that deranged manner. All right, this is the pattern of conduct. This is my shadow of my hand that's magnifies upright at a distance. This is a pattern. And you're mentally ill while you are gang stalking. You don't have to talk to the psychopath. You're going to prosecute them. There's a heavy body of evidence speaking to what is occurring at Laurel and C Street, where the fake sun is not over the OVITT Family Community Library. Look at my images, because the people of the state, demons that are obsessively stalking and my keeping my vagina under surveillance, are all congregated under the entrance of the OVITT Family Community Library at 215 East C Street. All right, they're doing so pursuant to surveillance. And as I walked out after 3 p.m., where did you see that fake sun? It's still outside of OVITT Family Community Library after 3 p.m. OVITT Family Community Library is straight down this street. All right, this is Laurel. The next street is Euclid, where they're crossing path where you see the school bus. That's Euclid. OVITT Family Community Library is a straight shot where the fake sun is remaining after 3 p.m. This is speaking to what is 10 o'clock. It's 10:11. Between 10:11 and 3 p.m., the fake sun is still on this street. That's one way of looking at it as well. This is not over or outside of the window of the Ontario Airport Inn. That's another manner of looking at it. And nor would it ever be, because I'm capturing that fake sun after 5 p.m. at that same Ontario Airport Inn, which I documented, okay? November 1st, 2025.
The entities engaging in this pattern of conduct and the evidence of stalking with impossible light is the exposure of the demon-possessed and their criminal system. 8TYT864, Southwest Airlines, UPS, Amazon Prime Air, every gang stalking airline, the entirety of the Ontario International Airport, the Ontario Police Department, and the Ontario Fire Department are not only engaged in criminal surveillance, they are demons. This is speaking to what is synonymous with demon possession. Say it with me. Mental illness. This is how their demon possession, which is no longer a secret, which is also legally relevant based on their criminal targeting system, which is proven beyond a reasonable doubt to a scientific degree, is relevant with regard to incompetence and mental illness, which is also going to inform your prosecution. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:12 a.m. It is impossible to have these types of coincidences. It's supernatural. And I have a pattern, a documented pattern of capturing the supernatural. This is P.O.C. They're all stalking. And so are Dental Kids Club, stalking with kids. They closed their door as soon as I started capturing this video. They're all monitoring, and they monitor with their children who are equally mentally ill and demon possessed. P.O.C. All right, the mentally ill are inside of the OVITT Family Community Library that had an entire documented absence and a legally relevant absence of the sun over the entrance, where the terrorists gathered to engage in sharing and surveillance with Yesenia and Taylor and Brianna, who are gang stalking employees. That is a systematic basis of federal group stalking monitoring. The Ontario Police Department that's gang stalking me at this venue last night is gang stalking me today while they're engaging in that pattern of conduct, and the employees utilize the administration door with those demons that have been documented engaging in some means of terrorizing or harassing, like the gang member with the tattoos on his face. Bald head, skinny, gang stalking me at the bus stop with the Ontario Police. It is significant, at least for the mentally ill, to engage in monitoring you via actors that have engaged in some act of threatening you in a way that they think got your attention or affected you, even if you're unaware of it. I don't care about the particular identity of any vagina monitor. I don't care. They're obsessed with me. They're stalking me. They're going to prison, not me. All right? However, the demon-possessed are engaged in what is monitoring, and it's demonic, and it's also very mentally ill. That is, in their minds, they feel as though they're retaliating. In their minds, they feel as though they're accomplishing something. That is, in their minds, even in the face of facts and circumstances that prove that that is not the case. This is getting to what is obsession. It's getting to what is delusion. It's getting to what is addictive behaviors that are harmful to other people. It's getting to what is harmful and combative and violent conduct, even as it is relevant to what is the practice of witchcraft. And that's what's going on amongst the mentally ill inside of the OVITT Family Community Library. The entity doesn't have the fake sun over the entrance because it is indeed a fake sun where every employee is documented systematically for a term of years engaging in what is targeting me, and every act of criminal summoning, every act of kidnapping at the OVITT Family Community Library on behalf of the Ontario Police, who provide evidence against them inside and outside of the library. They're going to be subject to prison for it. So the demons are monitoring with terrorist gang members that stroll through the venue, which is filled with engineer light, which has the fake sun upon my arrival, while they pace in and out of the administration door that you hear in the background, where they don't even actually come through the door. Those psychopaths are just opening and closing it. Okay, they engage in what is coming in and out of it as well, but they also maintain it as nothing other than activity. That's what it is. Even when they're pacing in and out of it, it's activity. But they're maintaining noise, while demons, particular demons that have some level, they don't have any spiritual potency. They don't have any potency whatsoever. These demons don't have any authority. So this is what their tactic is. This is relevant to what is witchcraft. This is all failed witchcraft. This is speaking to what is an addiction to stalking somebody that has already defeated the mentally ill. And legally speaking, the entity is still engaged in a criminal conspiracy to commit murder, while they are actually obsessed with what is a lost spiritual endeavor, which is their own demise. Okay, it's their business between them and Satan. Whatever death they conjured up upon themselves, their children, their household, their finances, their future, and that is based on the witchcraft that they're practicing, and they're practicing it unsuccessfully. But this is relevant to what is harassment. While the employees maintain ongoing harassment tactics, they do so with the people of the state that stroll through the library, engaging in terrorizing and stalking me with the police outside. So they stroll through the library, and these demons are stalking with the noise of the door open and closing and opening and closing and opening place while they're strolling through. They're all walking and strolling through an engineer light. All they're doing is monitoring in here. It's mental illness that's inside of the venue. In the same way that you're seeing it by the Ontario Police maintaining criminal summoning on Euclid Avenue last night, after they're engaging in what is helicopter activity, stalking as I'm walking outside of this venue, the venue where they're monitoring with that same police department now.
Everything is facilitating what is the elements of monitoring. And this is speaking to a population's obsession with the genitalia of a female that they do not personally know. That is because they share a condition, which is mental illness, with their behavioral health issues that are manifest. But is this mental illness because they're demon possessed? That's the explanation behind their obsession with my genitalia and with me. You're coming into the venue to engage in what is being around me. You're obsessed with everything concerning me. You're obsessed with my physical movements. You're obsessed with people that you surmise may affect me while you're stalking me. You're stalking me as a population. You're stalking me with your kids. You're stalking me with your so-called significant others. They're not significant. I'm significant. They're stalking me together. And they both have their own respective addictions and obsessions with me and my genitalia. These are the mentally ill. They're not actually in love. They don't actually have normal, healthy families. They're demons and they're already dead. And this is the harsh reality. But it is the truth. That's why they're under a fake sun over the whole building. It's speaking to what is a whole illusion regarding their very existence. And it's very sad. But this is no time for sympathy. There is no sympathy for terrorists. There's also no negotiation with terrorists. And these are terrorists that are going under the guise of what is OVITT Family Community Library, facilitating the conspiracy to murder, psychologically torture, harass, terrorize, perpetually and sexually offend. And they've been doing that for years, by the way, and they're still doing it as of December 2nd, 2025. This is P.O.C. While you are documenting the entity that is stalking you, this is a terrorist that is stalking me with the Ontario police at the bus stop. He's following me around at night while he is stalking me, and the entity is stalking me with a helicopter. The entity is engaged in that concerted conduct together, and then you're inside of the library where these stalkers are maintaining ongoing noise around you with that particular stalker. Understand that this is what the entity is intentionally doing, and that's a threat. Since you like to threaten as a matter of evidence, I'm going to prosecute you as a matter of law. This is the foolishness, however, of those that are more obsessed with my genitalia than understanding how your witchcraft isn't working. And also, I'm going to prosecute you with all the ways in which you are analyzing a stalker. Okay, as I begin documenting, pursuant to the pattern of conduct, the mentally ill get up and go right to the computers adjacent to me and in front of me. These are the demons that are gang stalking and doing so as a population. The same exact environment after 3 p.m. where the fake sun's still outside of this front door. The front door that it was not over at 10 o'clock, contrary to the demons engaged in the same criminal system yesterday when I was already at the OVITT Family Community Library. Remember, the Ontario police are stalking me at the 646 West Holt Boulevard on video, where the entity is keeping the fake sun, and it's not over 215 E.C. Street. While it's doing that, that's speaking to what are they doing in a UPS vehicle with engineer light attacking me while you're crossing path gang stalking as a UPS delivery guy, a demon? What are you doing as the airport that is engaging what is clearly no takeoff or flight, because there are no such thing over the or adjacent to the OVITT Family Community Library from the same airport in Ontario? That airport's not moving everywhere, every moment. It's not moving, following me like the fake sun. But the demons that are stalking in commercial planes are stalking and following me around in those commercial planes. And the evidence of them stalking is the movement of a fake sun. And the evidence, the documentation of an inconsistent environment showing what is a crime scene that is dynamic, meaning it moves as I move and it remains where I remain. That's also how you're aware of a vast issue regarding mental illness, okay, of an entity that's engaged in a blatant criminal conduct. All right, this is the entity that's engaged in that, and this is, I just want to be clear, an entity that is delusional with regard to what has already been sacrificed. That is their sanity. That is their superficial existence amongst other human beings. That is their well-being. That is for many of them their citizenship in this country. That is for many of them their health, their financial states, their career, their reputations, their freedom outside of a federal facility regarding routine battery tests concerning their severe mental illness. That is so much of a threat that they will be locked down 23 hours a day. And also regarding being an inmate in a federal prison. Many of them have sacrificed their lives, meaning they're not going to live any longer. Or this is something that someone connected to them is going to suffer. This is a population of demons that routinely murder people using witchcraft that has failed. Okay, so this is, again, the exercise of authority that the demon-possessed do not have against a Christ follower. And you're witnessing the ongoing progressive demise, and you're also witnessing the real-time prosecution on the internet, and it will be within the walls of a federal tribunal. This is P.O.C. It's 10:46 a.m. All right.
Alrighty, it is 4:08 p.m. The entity maintaining the ongoing harassment that I detailed on the podcast. I've spoken and documented it before, and it's a pattern of conduct. So I detailed it specifically at the OVITT Family Community Library. The entity is harassing on behalf of Mike LORENZ, the same Ontario police that are stalking by helicopter, as is captured on this podcast. So the mentally ill that stalk and monitor and harass you in supernatural means, as the demon possessed, are obsessively stalking by sitting at computers all around and maintaining ongoing demonic behavior. This is what they're doing in the grocery store. This is what they're doing in bathrooms. This is what they're doing on the road to the highways. And this is what they're doing in furtherance of murder. They're doing so. It's 4:09 p.m. While the demons are monitoring, the evidence is still going on the internet. They're still going to prison. They're still subject to the death magic that they sent out. They're still lacking spiritual authority, etc., etc. This is the mentally ill that are stalking until they are put in facilities, until they are subject to raids, until they are put away and prosecuted. So this is documentation of the ongoing inherent harms, civilly and criminally, and it's relevant to also federal prison terms for terrorist leaders like Mike LORENZ, for kidnappers like the entity that is kidnapping as a whole pattern of conduct, the Ontario Police Department, the Ontario Fire Department, American Medical Response. Those gang stalking demons are subject to prison as well. The entities engaging in this, these are the commoners. These are the petty commoners engaging in the criminal conduct on behalf of the government by living in your neighborhood, gang stalking, by traveling around you, gang stalking, by going into the grocery store, gang stalking, by following around as an entity, gang stalking, by going into a library where all they're doing is monitoring. Do you know what monitoring is? Monitoring is they're sitting around spiritually stalking. Moving around you in engineered light with regard to every physical movement that you make, including that which is sexually motivated. And you are absurdly deranged in your mind while you do that. Not only the fact that you do it, but the fact that you're doing it and it's known and it's being documented and you're being prosecuted. And you know that. This is the entity that is indicating the mental illness of Mike LORENZ, indicating the mental illness of the entity that is stalking in commercial airlines and the Ontario International Airport. Those demons are gang stalking while the commoners are inside of the building as employees and patrons, which is merely a superficial status. They're all demons. The impossible light that you see on the house, that you see on the sidewalk, that you see on the side of the grocery store, that you see that is just manifesting in the shade, those are the demons that are sitting inside of the library stalking. That's all they're doing is stalking. And the entities engaging in this, and they are going to be put in mental facilities if they survive to that point of a prosecution. But this is the entity that's going to be thoroughly prosecuted regarding what is domestic terrorism. The obsession of the stalkers is what is being documented. The mental illness of those stalkers is what is being captured. And it is relevant to what is to be studied. The demon-possessed have created, again, a whole new area with regard to understanding mental illness as a population shares in it. It is 4:12 p.m. OVITT Family Community Library, 215 E.C. Street. I did capture very damning, all the evidence is damning, literally, and that's not hyperbolic, but all of the evidence is damning, but I did capture so that you can look at the fake sun that's over the BONITA Court and Vesta Street intersection at 10 a.m., and you're mindful of these demons that are stalking and harassing now, terrorizing with impossible light activity, impossible sensational activity, psychopathic pacing, because that is literally what you are doing in the specific environment in furtherance of a criminal and maniacal objective, and you're going to be prosecuted for it. The entities engaging in that while they are under a fake sun at 10 a.m. yesterday at 215 E.C. Street, where you know it's still present, as I step outside of the same entrance doors. In the same way that the airport doesn't move around, neither does the fake sun when I stay at this library. And yet today, when I'm at the intersection of BONITA Court and Vesta, which is not over the same roof of the library, they're in two distinct locations, nor would it create any of that engineered light that appeared on the side of that house on the sidewalk, flying off of the demon of the Ontario Fire Department that is stalking me at that intersection while the demons are triggered as I expose the demon possessed in the neighborhood, gang stalking where they live, where they're also subject and fully exposed to being raided. The entities engaging in this conduct and the demons that are stalking with the possible light are sitting around stalking inside of the library, they're going to be prosecuted for it. And it's mental illness that informs everything, every decision also that they continuously make, and I document every second of it. It's 4:13 p.m. The mentally ill are engaging what is harassment. Harassment is not stopping your federal case. But because of the mentally ill's ongoing criminal campaign to target, terrorist leaders like Mike LORENZ are mandatory federal prison. They're subject to that. That's mandatory. Okay, that's non-negotiable. In the same way that there is no terrorist that the United States would ever negotiate with, and Mike Lorenz is a terrorist, and there will be no negotiating with a terrorist leader that sends this sort of feces-eating population to stalk me on your behalf. You are going to prison. All right, it's 4:14 p.m. This is P.O.C.
8 LWC 968, sexual assault and battery with the people of the state, molesting at the OVITT Family Community Library and the downtown Ontario luxury apartments. These are demons that are not touching with headlights. These are sex offenders that are engaging in psychological torture and sexual violence while they are exhibiting their mental illness, which is terrorism that is conducted as a population is stalking in that demented manner, and they're doing it in furtherance of murder. Okay, that's audible activity. This is an entity that is stalking as I am walking from the library back toward the bus stop where this population is stalking. And they're monitoring. This is the fake sun documentation, which is evidence of stalking with light, which is mentally ill behavior that they're engaging in at nightfall. It is 9:16 p.m. The license plates that I captured of sex offenders lying in wait, waiting to touch, mentally ill and sexually perverted. That's the mens rea, sexual violence. It's also demented, mentally ill people that are conspiring your murder, wanting to touch all over you with light that's not even naturally occurring. These are the mentally ill that sat in the library all day like stalking, okay? But it's currently 9:17 p.m. P.O.C. All right, downtown Ontario luxury apartments is filled with the demons that are in the parking garage. In the same way that they're in the library, taking turns sitting at the computer to stalk in close proximity. All they're doing is taking turns pacing inside of that venue. They're taking turns maintaining presence. Demons that are in their vehicles, going to their vehicles with regard to coming out and stalking with light. Okay, so this is the entity that's not coincidentally maintaining light. They are systematically maintaining light. License plate, sharing in sexual violence as an entity. This is a sex offender, 8 Frank Zebra Robert 107, Edward Jerry 38 Bob 02. Stalking in the path, license plate 8HZT415, sex offenders. Engaging in the Tesla charge station, they're all monitoring while the sex offenders are molesting. They're all monitoring together. This is sick, demented group conduct. License 8 Xavier Charlie Mary 590. License David Jerry 65 Charlie 39. License Edward George 15 Zebra 10. 9 Thomas Paul Victor 190. 9 Frank Bob Robert 541. 9 Frank Paul Wendy 658. 9 Robert 0 Jerry 706. 9 Victor Apple Nancy 591. 9 Mary Victor Bob 646. And the Securitas security guard fully engaged in sexual assault and battery. I took a picture of that while I'm on the side of the OVITT Family Community Library. The entity is engaging what is touching with light, period, which is a sex offense. You're stalking and you're monitoring with the government. It is under all circumstances a sex offense. But understand, they're monitoring, and it's also not even light activity that's naturally occurring. They're not touching with headlights. They're touching with interior light. All right, they're not driving under the sun. They're stalking under a fake sun. They're not flashing sunlight off of their car when they're driving. They are stalking demons, or they are molesting with impossible light activity that is not sunlight. License 9J Edward Henry 388 is a sex offender maintaining their hazard lights while they're parked at the downtown Ontario luxury apartments. And this is the same sex offender that's engaging that intentionally. It's not a coincidence. They're parked in a spot with their hazard lights on, and they're also doing that while the demons know that they're being documented. 6 Wendy David Paul 656. 9 David Yolanda Paul 052. 7 Uncle Victor Robert 285. 9 Victor Indiana Thomas 648. 7 Charlie Edward George 281. 9 Sam Uncle Zebra 234. 8 Robert Indiana Wendy 900. 8 Xavier Wendy 733. And Sarah's Regis Group is a documented third party engaged in sexual assault and battery. This property is routinely documented, including with the fake sun over all around, molestation with impossible light. I showed you the fake sun reflecting off of this building. That's not the sun. That's a facilitating venue. You're going to prosecute the entire apartment building while that crime scene, which is supernatural, and the employees and the residents, the government, are engaging in what is criminal conduct targeting an American citizen while that fake center is reflecting off of this building, Sarah's Regis, where the demons are inside of the building, the parking garage, engaging what is criminal activity. Okay, Sarah's Regis itself, the company, is being prosecuted as well. This is downtown Ontario Luxury Apartments at 320 North Euclid Avenue. This is P.O.C. This is speaking to mental illness, and it's also speaking to the obsession, a demon-possessed population that is obsessed with you, and whose obsession is no longer a secret. Remember, the demon-possessed never intend that their secret of stalking and being obsessed would be exposed. The entity is designed to engage in and are intending to secretly target you and then make you look like you're crazy. They failed in that miserably. It's an abysmal failure, and it's published. They're so obsessed, they're still doing it anyway in the face of the evidence. That's a threat to your life. They're that obsessed. Okay? They're that demented. They're that psychopathic. They're that addicted to stalking regardless, meaning that conspirator of murder cannot be stopped. They will not stop stalking you. They will not stop targeting you. They will not stop coming after you and pursuing you. That translates into time in prison for people like Mike Lorenz, for the people of the state, for civil prosecutions and criminal prosecutions of companies like Sarah's Regis Group. That translates in every way regarding the civil and criminal prosecution. Okay, and with regard to the prosecution of the people, the deportation of the people, the necessity of martial law regarding this lawless population, it's currently 9:23 p.m.